Hello everyone, this is Jonathan Little, and I'm excited to bring you a hand today from my newest series, Combating Limpers. And one of the situations that I saw players making humongous errors on a regular basis in the $1, $2 cash games that I played in preparation for my newest book, Strategies for Beating Small Stakes Poker Cash Games. A lot of players did not recognize, especially in multi-way pots, that if someone is betting, they probably have something pretty good, especially if they are generally on the passive side, because you'll find that most limpers are passive. So, take a look at this hand. Here we are playing $1, $2, and we have 10-8 of spades, which is a pretty good hand. So this player limps from second position. This guy limps, and at this point, we decide to limp with the 10-8 suited. And I think this is a perfectly fine play. I would be limping in this spot pretty much every time. I'm definitely not trying to fold because 10-8 suited flops very well. And I'm also not trying to raise. There definitely is a time to raise limpers, and I will discuss that thoroughly in the class. But with your drawing hands like ace-x suited, suited connectors, suited gappers, and small pairs, you pretty much always want to be limping behind because that's going to allow you to flop a strong hand and then apply money once you get a good flop. So I limp. This guy limps. This guy limps. This guy limps. This is not uncommon in small stakes games. You'll see 7-way pots very often. So flop comes 10-9-3. Reasonably good flop. Check, check, check. Bet $10, and then it's around to me. And you'll notice I just fold. And that may seem incredibly tight, but you have to realize when there's a player betting into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, he almost certainly has a hand he thinks is good. So what is a quote-unquote good hand on 10-9-3? It's either going to be a straight draw, which I'm slightly ahead against. It's going to be a flush draw, which I'm slightly ahead against. It's going to be top pair, which I generally lose to because I have 10-8. It's going to be a 9, which I am in great shape against. Or it's going to be nothing, but usually a guy's not going to be betting into multiple people with nothing. The problem is that I'm not only playing against this one guy's hand, I'm also playing against everyone else at the table's hand. And we see this time that these players don't have anything besides this guy who has an open-ended straight draw. He's probably not going to be folding. And even though I am somewhat likely to be in good shape versus this player, even though we see this time I'm actually crushed, you cannot look at this situation and say, I'm only against one guy, the better. You're actually against everyone else who is in the pot. And just because they check does not necessarily mean that they are incredibly weak. So be aware of that whenever you are playing, especially in multi-way limped pots. You do need a relatively strong hand to put a significant amount of money in the pot. Imagine what happens if I decide to call this $10 bet and it goes fold, 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 fold. If this guy bets on the turn, pretty much no matter what the turn is, I'm usually going to be pretty unhappy, especially if my opponent's somewhat snug. If my opponent is sort of a loose, aggressive player, I think that calling on the flop could be acceptable, but even then, it's certainly not great. It's not like I'm thrilled to call with my top pair bad kicker with 5 people yet to act. So make sure you get off the hook whenever your opponents are trying to put chips in the pot in a very, very multi-way scenario. You will make quote-unquote incorrect folds sometimes, but more often than not, you are going to find that your opponents just have you in bad shape. This would even be more compounded if I had something like ace-9 or 9-8. Those hands would be very, very easy folds. Make sure you are not sticking around too long. If you stick around too long, you will slowly, or perhaps very quickly, bleed off your stack. So to learn how I combat limpers, my complete strategy for combating limpers in this incredibly long class where I go through 20 different hand examples, use the sign up button below this video and let me know what you think. I am confident that if you watch and study and learn from this class, you will do significantly better versus limpers. So check it out. Thank you for watching.